Hi everybody, my name is Larsen. Sometimes when you're looking for some more interesting and rich sounding arpeggios, it can be a good idea to start working with what you can find if you go beyond the strict diatonic arpeggios in a scale. So that means you're not looking at the arpeggios that you get by just stacking thirds within the scale, but you try and alter them and use other notes. And one of the arpeggios that I use really a lot like this for especially my sort of melodic minor and alto sounds is the dominant 7th sharp 5 arpeggio. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar, about improvising over chord changes, interesting arpeggios and chord voicings, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to make sure not to miss anything, then click the little bell notification icon next to the subscribe button. The A7 sharp 5 is found in two different melodic minor scales. So it's found in D melodic minor, where you have it here. And it's also found on the 7th degree of B flat melodic minor, so that would be this scale. And here you have it here. One of the reasons why this arpeggio works so well is probably because if you take it apart, you can look at it as being an augmented triad with an extra note. And since the augmented triad is really a huge part of the melodic minor sound, so if we listen to like a D minor major, which is sort of the basic melodic minor sound, then the top part of that is of course the augmented triad. The same goes for the kind of sound that you have if you have a Lydian dominant, then an upper structure, so that is also going to be an augmented triad. So that's probably the reason why this connects so well with melodic minor. So now I'm going to give you 3 examples of how I use this arpeggio. The first one is going to be on an altered dominant. So the A7 sharp 5 works really well as a sort of arpeggio that you can put on top of a D flat 7 altered. So I'm going to do that with a 2-5-1 in the key of G flat major. You can actually also use the A7 sharp 5 arpeggio on an A7 altered, but I'm going to save that for another video. The first part of this line on the A flat minor 7 chord is using a B major or C flat major, if you will, arpeggio. So I'm just using a descending sweep like to go down there. Then I'm encircling the A flat and then moving up to the B. And here on the D flat 7 altered, I'm using the arpeggio, so just from the root. And then from the C sharp down to the B, resolving to the third of the G flat. If you relate the arpeggio to a D flat root, then we have the A, which is a flat 13. We have the D flat, which is the root. The F, which is the major third. And then we have the G, which is a sharp 11 or a flat 5. So that gives us this kind of chord sound, which is like a D flat 7 with a flat 13 and a flat 5. Here I'm using the A7 sharp 5 arpeggio on a tonic minor, so on a D minor major sound. And the line is really simple in the beginning because it's just really D melodic minor stuff. So start on the 5th, 3rd, then encircling the root, and then from the root running up the scale. And then the second bar we get the arpeggio, so first on the sharp 5 and then down to the root. And then just up the arpeggio, up to the sharp 5, resolving that to the 9th of D minor major. Like this. Against the D minor major, then the sound we get is just the sound of the D minor major, because that's just that augmented triad, and then we get the 11th in there as well. So in that way it's sort of closely related to the tonic minor sound. It's well worthwhile also checking out the other version for your tonic minor. So the other version in this case would be the one that's found on the 7th degree, and that would be like a C sharp dominant 7 sharp 5. So in this final example, I'm using the A7 sharp 5 on an E flat 7 Lydian dominant. So I'm using it as an arpeggio constructed on the 7th degree of a B flat melodic minor scale. So that means this as a part of this scale. And the progression that I'm using is first G minor, and then E flat 7, and then F major 7. So really that's just a 4 minor type progression in the key of F major. The line is first encircling the root of the G minor, and then using the triad from the 3rd, so a B flat major triad, and then going into the arpeggio, so the A7 sharp 5 arpeggio, and then a small scale one, and then resolving to the third on the F major 7, and then just sort of tacking this short A minor pentatonic run on it. If we look at the A7 sharp 5 against an E flat root, then what we get is the sharp 11, the 7th, the 9th, and the 3rd. So we kind of have, because of course E flat 7 and A7 are tritone substitution of each other, so in that way it's actually a complete chord what we have here for the E flat 7, and that's probably also why it works so well. And in this case we can also still just use the D flat or C sharp, whichever way you want to look at it, as the important note in the context, because that's the one that needs to resolve down to the 5th of the F major 7. Do you have an arpeggio that you use a lot that's not like a strict diatonic arpeggio like the one that I'm talking about here? Because this is something, of course, I've talked about this in videos before, and it's probably a topic that I want to return to, because I find that it's a very nice way to pull out some very specific sounds of a scale, and it's also just a nice variation and a nice change from having all the straight diatonic arpeggios that we use all the time. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar, and this is the first time you see one of my videos, then subscribe to my channel. I publish a new video every Monday and Thursday, and I've been doing this for quite some time, so there's already a lot of material on my channel. If you want to help me keep making all these videos, then check out my Patreon page. I have a small community of people that are supporting me over on Patreon, and it's really that makes it possible for me to keep on going with making the videos every week. If you support me on Patreon, I can also give you something in return, and we have a small community, and we also have a private Facebook group, so there's a lot of stuff happening. Check it out, there's a link in the description. That's about it for this week. Thank you for watching, and on to next week.